All right, welcome to, what is it, part 4 on the Polaris Predator 500. As you guys know, we picked this thing up for 800 bucks, probably, a week ago now. And we worked on it for quite a while. The timing was all messed up on it. And then we found out that the woodruff key was snapped in half on it. And then we also found, last video, that the valve on the intake, valve right here, was bent, so it was stuck open, and that's why it was giving us zero compression on the compression gauge when we did the test. So that's why it wasn't running. We finally got it running last video, but then the woodruff key broke again. So we're gonna solve that problem today, hopefully. We bought a new woodruff key. We got one from Polaris coming, but I got a brand new set. They actually sell these at Harbor Freight, which is funny. I actually found that from another YouTube video I was watching on this. A guy who had the same problem. I don't remember his YouTube channel. But these are the exact same size as the ones that we need. This is the size. I believe they're 4 by 5 by 12 millimeters. That's the size for the Polaris Predator. Right at Harbor Freight. The whole kit, I think, was $7 for the whole thing. And one woodruff key from Polaris is, I believe, $11. So, yeah. But anyway, I was watching some other YouTube videos and, looking at some forums on what to do about this situation with the flywheel. And it turns out that you can actually lap the flywheel to the crankshaft, and that's what we're going to do today. So the two surfaces where they meet, right inside the flywheel and then the actual crankshaft, those need to be lapped so that they fit snug on there. What I'm thinking is happening is when it first wore off that woodruff key, the woodruff key got stuck in there and rotated around that around the flywheel and kind of made some markings on it. Those markings give it a little bit of play and doesn't really seat on the crankshaft very well. Once we lap it, it'll fit snug on there and it shouldn't move at all. And we should not break any more woodruff keys. But that's the plan for today. And then we've got to clean up the carburetor, make sure this thing doesn't backfire anymore, because I think when it backfires, that woodruff key just is broken right away. So if we can get this thing not to backfire anymore, out the carburetor, because I think when I give it a little throttle and startup, it likes to backfire. So if we can not do that anymore, I think we shouldn't have a problem. So let's fix the flywheel first, do the carburetor, get everything put back onto this quad, and then take it for a ride. The goal is to get this thing going so we can take it for the first ride, because we've worked on this thing long enough. We gotta go enjoy it. So let's get right into it and start lapping that flywheel. Alright, so last video we were able to get the flywheel off again, and it ended up that the flywheel key, called the woodruff key, was sheared off and broken right in half. So we're going to take this off today. And this seems to be a typical problem for the Polaris Predator 500. I don't know why that would be. I don't know if they use weak keys or what. But you can see the inside isn't super perfect, but it's not bad. The keyway isn't horrible either. So we can definitely save this flywheel. I looked up some flywheels on eBay and these things go for about $250. And I just can't justify that when I paid 800 bucks for the whole quad. So if it comes to that, I'll buy it, but let's first try to fix it, because this is a channel where we use what we have and try to get things to work with what we have. So we can see the surface of this is actually pretty decent. It's really not that bad. It's a lot better than what the flywheel looks like. But we're going to take off this bearing as well. We don't want to get that dirty. Put that over here. We're going to take some lapping compound and cover this whole thing. And then we're going to take the flywheel, place it on there, and this is very important, we're going to rotate it in one direction the whole time. We're going to rotate the flywheel by hand counterclockwise, so the way the engine rotates is what you want to do. And what that compound is going to do is rub off all these imperfections and make a nice smooth mating surface for the flywheel. So that's the plan. Let's get right into it, get the lapping compound out, and start this process. Let's quick give this a shot of brake cleaner, just to clean off the surface, see what we're working with here. Yeah, that's really smooth. And we'll clean out the inside of the flywheel here quick too. Just cleaning out the inside of this. Alright, this is the lapping compound we're going to be using. Valve grinding compound. I bought this off of Amazon for, I think it was like $7, so it's pretty cheap. Alright, lather this up. You don't need a whole lot. Small amount goes a long way. Alright, that's good. Put the flywheel back on. Make sure it's nice and snug. And then we're just going to rotate it. And you'll hear it gradually get quieter and quieter as that grit becomes smaller and smaller on the compound. We're going to do this for about 10 minutes. And then we're going to check the surface again. So I'll sit here spinning this for 10 minutes. Oh, this better work. It's a long time to be sitting here. Just spinning a flywheel. You can hear it getting quieter. Alright, after about 10 minutes of spinning this thing, we finally can take this thing off and check out the inside. Looking a little bit better. You can still see some scratches in there, but you can see it's all the other raised parts are smooth. It should bind up to the crankshaft really well now. You can see how it is all kind of sanded down. Let's get the woodruff key in there. This is the key we're using. Let's get that installed in here. See, it's a nice snug fit. Get this flywheel on. It already feels tighter. Get this bolted up and we should be good to go. Just want to confirm the timing before we attempt to start this thing again. We can see the dots at the top on both of these, so you're good to go. Dot at the top, and then dot is at the side right there, and then dot is at the side right there. So we are good for timing. Let's get this carburetor off and take a look in there. We have not done that yet. We'll probably let it sit in the ultrasonic cleaner for a bit to make sure it's perfect. And then, yeah, try to start this thing up again. isn't held on by much. Off too. All right, let's see what's going on in the carburetor here. I'll take off the top first. Didn't take much to get that one off. Two springs in there. We'll check the carb diagram when we put it back together. Looks pretty decent. So you gotta check these rubbers for holes, because that's what pulls in the gas. This diaphragm looks pretty good. Not too bad. This is the fun part. That one should be out. Alright, there's a little gunk in there. It's not too bad. Definitely not as bad as some we've seen. Here's the inside of this one. Not too bad at all. Alright, let's take out all the jets. Let's see about the little pin, this one right here. Looks like the needle isn't too bad. Came right out, wasn't stuck in there. She's a little hardened up. Not the greatest in the world, but we'll see if she works. Let's see, that looks brand new in there. Let's see what this jet says on it. Doesn't say anything on it. That's clear. See what the pilot looks like here. Alright. Pilot's clogged. Can't see through it. See the main jet. That's clogged. Oh no, that's open. Thought it was clogged at first, but I think how many turns this thing is in? 1, 2, exactly 2 turns. Should be a spring in there. Yep. That's what that one looks like with a little spring on it. That tip is still good on there, nice and pointy. Alright, I think that's pretty much all we can take off. We can let this soak, and we'll let the float bowl soak as well. Get the ultrasonic cleaner going, let that sit for about 20 minutes. Alright, we got the parts in the ultrasonic cleaner right here. We've got 1/4 parts degreaser to 3/4 water, just regular water out of the tap. And then a lot of people were asking what I use in my ultrasonic cleaner. I use this stuff. Simple Green Industrial Cleaner and Degreaser. That's what I use. Works pretty well. Never had an issue with it, so That's what I'm going to continue to use. And then you just push the start button. We've got it at 30 minutes at 80 degrees. Alright guys, we got the carburetor all cleaned up out of the ultrasonic cleaner. We blew it out with the compressor, with compressed air. So it's all clean, all the jets are open and clear. Reinstalled, throttle is back on. Everything works as it should. I adjusted the idle a little bit further up because I read in some forums that a lot of the times the flywheel key gets cut in half because the throttle is too low and it's thumping too much. So we up the throttle. So for the first start it should be fine and it should just start right up. We connected the air filter boot going to the air filter box, and this needs to be connected. I'm going to leave it open for right now just in case we have to pour a little bit of gas down the carburetor. We shouldn't have to, but just in case. And I think that's pretty much it. We're not going to hook up the gas line yet because I still have to get a gas line for it. But the gas tank is sitting right here, and I think it's clear. I think that's all, it's all plastic, so I think it's all cleared out. We have to check if the petcock works still, but we'll do that once we get this thing figured out. So, without further ado, let's pour some gas down here and see if she fires up. Alright, we've got gas flowing to it. Let's see what happens here. I think that was the flywheel key right there. It's running a lot better though. At least it started up for a couple times. I heard a huge knock though. So let's try to start up one more time, but I think that was the flywheel key. Oh, that sucks. Alright, so far so good. Looks like it's just burning off stuff on the pipe. Somebody must have tried cleaning it with some product and then it's just burning off right now. But we did not break the flywheel key yet. So that is a plus. We're going to do another engine flush on it. Get all the old oil out and see if it's still white. You can see the old oil is super white. It's either the water pump seal is broken or there's water in there from before. So we'll just keep on doing the flush until it gets clear. So let's do that next. I think we gotta get an oil filter for it too. So yeah, there's an oil filter down there. So let's do another oil change on this thing and hopefully we can put everything back together and ride it. Alright, let's do this oil change here. Just went to the good old Fleet Farm. Bought some oil and a filter. Found a filter for it, surprisingly. Usually they don't have them. We got some 10W40. This thing takes like 2.2 quarts of oil. We got Lucas oil formulated for wet clutches. So, and then this little guy, factory spec oil filter. Looks like that. See if it's the same size as the other one. Yeah, looks exactly the same. Let's get the little rubber thing on it. Cool. Alright, let's install this. I've got the spring that goes in here first. Lock that. Let's open up the filter. The rubber is towards the front. You want to put the non-rubber part towards the spring. And that rubber part will fit right onto this cap right here. You can see. Like that. Then it didn't come with a new O-ring or anything, so we'll just install it like that. Oh, I can see it filling up right here. I think it takes exactly 2. Yeah, it's filled up right there. So there's a little bit left in here. Probably like 0.1 quarts. So put the cap back on, then we're gonna start this thing up for a little bit. Alright, I got the gas tank hooked up with a filter. The petcock's leaking pretty good, but we're just gonna see if it starts up and continues to run with the gas tank. I want to see if that pump works. There we go. Alright, added the rest of the oil. We're gonna let this circulate for a bit, then check it. Alright, let's check the oil. Yeah, it's pretty white looking. You can see it's not good. So the water pump seal is probably gone. You can see it. It's mixed with coolant or water. We're at the right amount. It's just brand new oil in there. And that's not what it's supposed to look like, so that's not good. So I'm gonna order up a water pump seal for it and then try to change that out. All right, I ended up putting a new petcock on the gas tank so that doesn't leak anymore. The gasket, or the seal in the petcock was broken in one spot, so gas was leaking out of it. But that's fixed. The only problem we have right now is the water pump seal. I think what we're gonna do is put everything back together on the quad and take it for a short ride. A short ride shouldn't wreck anything, even if the water pump seal's leaking a little bit, because we've got brand new oil in it. So it'll last for a little while before that oil starts to get thin with water. So I think what we're gonna do is just test it out, really rip it hard for probably a good 15 minutes and just see if this thing can handle anything, and then see if the woodruff key breaks in half again, because that's really what we're worried about. Everything else is pretty much perfect on this quad except for that. So let's get the plastics back on and the seat back on, sitting right here, and take this thing for a little rip. We're gonna probably head up to my parents and then take it for a proper ride. All right, everything's put back together on this thing. Looking pretty decent. Came together pretty good. The only thing it's really missing is there's a small latch piece for the seat that it's missing underneath here. But otherwise, that's pretty much all it's missing for parts. Seat cover's not in the greatest shape. It's got a couple cracks and stuff in it. But otherwise, plastics are pretty decent. All right, cleaned up a bit as much as I could. Did the rims, did the plastics. It's looking pretty good. Alright, that's pretty much the finished product, besides the paint and the couple extra parts that they put on it. We did order up some new grips as well. These are really, really crappy, so we got some new red grips coming. Other than that, I don't think I'm going to spend too much more on it. Just want to make it run good and perform. But otherwise, I don't think I'm going to put much more money into it besides paint and the grips. Alright, next day, I bought this new battery for the Polaris. We'll go see if this one fits. Actually, I know it does, because this is the battery that was in it. Basically the same size. Mostly the height's what we're worried about. Alright, we got the brand new battery installed, all hooked up, ready to go. I think the only step left is to take this thing for a little rip. Hopefully the clutch works. I took the time to go through the manual. I made sure everything in the clutch was correct. Also, I might take this blue plate off and paint that black or red to match the rest of the quad. I don't know why it's painted blue. Running out of the chain loop here. Oh, there we go. Alright, I just got done greasing up all these fittings. You can see there's a bunch of them. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then there's one back here. So there's 9 of them that I can find right now. Alright, let's see if she moves here. Oh yeah, clutch works. She moves. I think we should take her in the back right here. Waiting for the fan to come on here. See if that kicks on. Just shut off for some reason. All right, took her for the first ride. She moves, so that's a huge win. Considering what this thing was before. Goes through all the gears. I went through all the gears on the road, and in first gear it lifted up and did a wheelie right away. It goes through the snow really well with those tires. Those beefy tires on the back, goes right through the snow. Zero issues. I wish they were on the DS650. I should just put them on there. But I figured out why it was cutting out. This key is super finicky. See, nothing even lights up right now, but if you wiggle this, you can see it light up. So the key is really, really finicky. Oh, there we go. I might have to order a new one, a new ignition switch, but other than that, it runs great. Besides from the, the cutting out randomly, because I think one of these connections, whenever you hit a bump, it cuts out. So we gotta fix that. I want to hook up the oil sensor right here. And make sure that that's going, because I did not hear the fan kick on at all. So I want to make sure the fan works as well. We might hook up 12 volts to it, make sure for the next ride. And then also we need to change that water pump seal before the next ride. That's coming in the mail pretty soon. So that needs to be fixed and tightened up. To tighten that up, you just loosen up these and then you crank on this thing. So I'll quick do that before the next ride as well. But yeah, first ride done. Has tons of power, tons of torque. This thing's really fun to ride. It is kind of weird because they're like leaning forward on this thing. Kind of reminds me of the 450R. But otherwise, it's really powerful and really fun to ride. And I think that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for subscribing. Until next time, we are out.